Hi, friends, it's Dr. Christine Sauer with Sparkles for Better Mental Health, Personal Growth in 5 Dimensions. Welcome. And today I'm so excited to have Susan Gross on the show, and we are talking how to burst through your exhaustion cycle and sparkle. Welcome, Susan.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Now, my first question is always, what's your story? How did you uh, go yourself through the exhaustion cycle and then went on to generate so much energy that you're now giving others the energy booster?
Well, that's such great questions that we can definitely unpack. So, I am a mom of four. I had four children that were born within 5 years. I also, yeah, very fast. I also am an entrepreneur and have had 5 different businesses through my adulthood. And I was raised by type A workaholic parents. And, and my father always taught me that the harder you work, the more money you make. The harder you work, the more money you make. And so I had this ingrained in my mind and thought that the only way to make money was to work hard. Now, mind you, I do not mind hard work. And I know that we have to work, right? We don't sit back and do nothing and have money flow to us most of the time. But anyway, that's what I knew. I knew the go, 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 go mentality. And I was in my early 40s, and I was hosting Thanksgiving, and the only thing underneath my beds in my whole house is the leaf to our dining room table. And I went to get this leaf out from under my bed. And when I got horizontal, I fell sound asleep. I mean, in a split second, just fell sound asleep. And when I woke up, which was actually my husband came looking for me because I disappeared, but when I woke up, I'm like, oh my gosh, something has got to change because this is not how life is supposed to be lived. And I was on the verge of an exhaustion breakdown, right? But I looked like I had it all together on the outside. Nobody would have known that how I was struggling with being exhausted and being tired because I wasn't asking for help and I wasn't getting enough rest. Sound like a familiar story?
Absolutely. I did the same thing until I crashed.
Right. And that's usually what happens. And so this is when I created the Energy Booster Blueprint, which is 7 simple secrets. You know what? You'll read them. They won't be rocket science or anything like that, but there's 7 tools that can help you to bust your exhaustion cycle so that you can have more success at work and joy in life. And that was really what I was searching for. And so I started by evaluating what I was doing and what changes needed to be made. But I had to admit to myself that there were some problems that, I needed to tell my husband and my family that I needed some help with some different things. I needed to let go of things that I thought I could do better than anybody else, right? Why delegate? I can do it the best. I see you shaking your head. And isn't this the story that so many women tell ourselves?
Yeah, Mama knows best. Let me do it. Let me help
Right?
you. Yeah, right.
Yep. And it was the same thing even in my business world. Well, I started by finding stillness. I said, okay, I've got to create a time where I can get still. And in the stillness, I learned to listen. And in the listening, I discovered who Susan Cruz really was or is, right? I also have some other tools that I use. I studied Enneagram, which, comes from the ancient monks or the Benedictine monks. I've studied human design and learned how I am created to work. And when I learned those things, then putting in the meditation and the stillness, and then adding in some yoga and some other healthy tips, I was able to discover who I was and create a work schedule that worked for me and my body, as well as worked for my family.
Wow. That sounds like a really difficult task with 4 kids, husband, work, entrepreneurship.
Right?
How did you do it?
Well, like I said, I started with stillness and I started with looking at my calendar. And I learned a 2-letter word. And this one won't shock you. It's no. I learned how to say no to things that were not my responsibility or things that I did not have to do. And those things I could delegate or just let them go. And that started creating space in my calendar, which started creating time. And as I had more time, then I was able to get more rest. And as I got more rest, I was able to build a life around the things that I love to do, which, was being with my children, creating fabulous meals, quick meals. A fabulous meal doesn't have to take you days to cook. You can do a quick meal, but creating that meal where we got to eat homemade food, not food from a drive-through, right? And in creating those things, then I was filling my soul with the things that brought me joy. So that made the tasks that don't bring you joy that you have to do, because don't get me wrong, it's not all a bed of roses, right? We can't always do the fun or do the things that bring us joy. There are times you have to do the mundane task, but I create them, I create them in my schedule, and I know that's what's coming up, and then I deal with it, and then I'm done and get to move on to the joyful things, right?
And sometimes I found you can really train your brain to like the things that you thought were boring or mundane. They can be very interesting if you frame it correctly in your mind.
I love that, Dr. Christine, and I totally agree. One word that I try to use a lot in my vocabulary now is get. Like I get to track my finances. So on Friday mornings, you know what I do? I have a dance party, one song, dance to that one song, and then I sit down and I track all my numbers.
Cool.
And that way I'm in a great frame of mind, right? To sit down and look at numbers, because as business women, we've got to know all our numbers.
It's fascinating. And
Yes.
sometimes it can be depressing when the numbers are not what we hope they would be, and they are not always what we hope they would be. I know.
Amen. Amen. But I've changed the mindset. You know what? Okay, the numbers aren't where I want it to be, but I'm already feeling good going into that task. So then you can sit back and you look at it and say, okay, right now the numbers are low. What needs to change?
Right.
Not like,
Can I do to make them
the
better instead of letting it discourage you and give up?
Right.
Action. And I love that how you take that as part of your energy blueprint. To take
Right.
action, inspired action. That's so important.
Yes. Yes. Those are some of the things that I love. I was trying to think. Recently, I heard another word shift. Oh, recently I heard this word shift that I actually like as well. If you're trying to do something or change a habit, instead of saying, I'll just use alcohol. I don't know why that came to my mind, but that's what came to my mind. So I'll just use alcohol. If somebody is trying to enjoy or try a sober-minded life, right? And instead of saying, I can't have a drink, say, I won't have the drink. And that word shift just gives your whole body a different feeling. For me, it's about losing some weight right now, right? Instead of I can't have that dessert or I can't have that cookie or chocolate, just say, I won't have it right now.
And make it a choice. You know, I teach weight loss.
Yes.
That's part of what I do. So it's exactly
Oh,
what I do. I say depriving is not good. Yes, you can have everything you want. And I'll teach you to train your brain that you love the foods that love you back. And then you make
oh,
better choices because you want the foods that nourish your temple of God or your body and your soul. And when you
yes.
see it that way and you have your purpose and you value yourself and your body as that
Mhm.
valuable piece of real estate, if you want to, the only thing we have while we are here on earth,
Absolutely.
why would I choose to eat a whole chocolate bar in one setting like I used to do? I was an absolutely milk chocolate addict. I was 325 pounds 16 years ago. So
Oh,
that's a good
wow.
story of weight loss and keeping it off. And
Yes.
I know what works, and that works.
Absolutely. So we have a whole nother conversation we
Yes,
could go down a rabbit hole.
absolutely. I would love to.
I my parents put me on Weight Watchers when I was in 5th grade. And what 5th grade girl wants to tell her friends, I just became a lifetime member of Weight Watchers,
I can't have that.
right? And I wasn't fat or obese, I was chubby. That was it. I was chubby at that point in my life. But my father had, once again, my dad, I love my dad dearly, but he had issues. And so this is what they chose to do. So at a very early age, I did a couple of things. I made up in my mind, Dr. Christine, that my beauty was determined by the number on the scale. And so that's just how I perceived it and how I interpreted it. So throughout the years, I rode this diet roller coaster, right? I either was overeating and under exercising or under eating and over exercising. It was never from a place of love for myself. It was always as punishment. I would overeat to fill emotional needs. And then I would punish myself with the exercise. And one of the things that I had to learn, and I didn't learn it until right about the time I was creating the Energy Booster Blueprint, was that I had to learn to love myself well. And learning to love myself meant learning that it was okay how I looked as long as I was taking care of me.
Right?
And I bet you hear that story a lot.
A lot. And it's the first step in losing weight is to love yourself the way you look right now. And I
Yes,
hated my body when I was 325 pounds. I was
right.
fortunate my husband lived loving me.
Yeah,
So we went actually to India, had weight loss surgery, and I lost the weight. But you know, it's a tool. To keep it off, most people can't because they start eating again because they need the weight as a shield.
exactly.
Some emotion, often
Yes,
sexual abuse in childhood. And I
yes.
love talking about those issues because they're really important to many people.
It is, and you're right. It's all about loving yourself. And what I say and what I share with my clients oftentimes is if you will love yourself well, you can love others better. I
That
love
makes a lot
that.
of sense. When your glass is full to the overflowing, you can give to
Yes,
others from the extra, from the over.
that's right. That's right. And so it goes back to the sparkle, the shine, the radiance. all of that and I get goosebumps as I say this to you, because I believe you and I ride on sort of the same wavelength, and we get it, and we've illuminated ourselves with a variety of tools to help us live a beautiful, energetic life where we get to help other women illuminate themselves from the inside out.
Wow, that is lovely the way you say it. I love it, Susan. Now, let me ask you, we are coming
Yeah,
to the end of our time, but
yeah.
if somebody watches this show or listens to the show and says, hey, I love the way Susan talks about the energy blueprint, and I am in that cycle of exhaustion. How can
Yeah.
I meet her? How can I talk to her? What can they do?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. They can come to my website. It's Susan Cruz Co, SusanCrewsco.com. And on the website, they can grab their energy booster blueprint to get started. And then there's also places they can connect with me. And I'm the host of the Radiant Soul Sisters podcast.
I love that. Radiant Soul Sisters.
Yes.
I love that, Susan. Thank you so much for being on this show. And I can't wait to meet again. And you have a wonderful day. And for my listeners,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
Bye.
When you combine modern science, ancient wisdom, nature experience, and love, magic happens. I'm Dr. Christine Sauer, physician, naturopath, coach, human. It feels like magic to my clients, and their lives are transformed through the skills combination of natural and human sciences, ancient philosophies, and caring human-to-human interaction. Discover this kind of modern wizardry, and let's prepare powerful healing potions together. Come and enter our wonderful world of wellness.